Chapter 5. A Jungle Home. I sat at a homemade table in the big bamboo and thatched house next door to Doreen's, writing a letter to Jim. I described to him the thick wetness of the jungle drifting in through the wide-screened windows, making me feel mildewed and wilted. The paper itself felt limp. A strange doleful whistle carried across the clearing from the edge of the forest, and dozens of birds I could not see twittered in the trees close to the house. I could hear the mumbling of the school children in the room below my bedroom. I described the house where Dorothy and I had lived for nearly a week now. There was a long, narrow living room from which opened 3 bedrooms, all in a row. Dorothy had the first bedroom. She was in there now, propped up in the big roll-away bed she had brought with her from the States, reading a woman's magazine, also from the States. Dorothy was large of heart as well as of body, a comfortable kind of person who had not had the same misgivings I had about physical comfort. She liked to cook and keep house and did not hesitate to admit it. When we studied Spanish together in Quito, she had no clear idea about what she would do as a missionary, but she was sure she would find something. While I had agonized about what the next step would be, she had trusted God, and now here we both were. The next bedroom was Marta's. She was an Ecuadorian white woman, slim, dark-haired, and dark-eyed. She was only 19 years old and had just graduated from normal school. Although she came from an upper-class family in Quito, her father had permitted her to venture down into the fearsome forests only because she would be living with 2 señoritas, a term he was pleased to use for us, but that would not, in his mind, apply to jungle people, white or Indian. Marta spoke no English, so we had the great advantage of being forced to speak Spanish at home as well as in our work. It was to be her job to teach the school children, while Dorothy acted as principal. Mine was the 3rd bedroom, the one nearest the kitchen. Like Dorothy's, it was a corner room with windows on 2 sides that could not be closed. Screens kept out some of the insects and bats, but there was plenty of space where they could find entrance between the tops of the walls and the thatch. There were cracks, too, in the walls themselves, since they were of split bamboo. There was nothing unnecessary or decorative about anything in the house, since E.T. had built and furnished it to suit himself, but it was very much more comfortable than their house in Santo Domingo. There were a couple of huge wooden slant-seated chairs that might have done rather well on a yacht club deck or a ski lodge balcony, but the scale was overwhelming in a living room. There were some benches, a bookshelf, and 2 vast tables, one for eating, one for writing. In the kitchen, besides the fogan, there was a counter made of a board placed across 2 boxes. Smoke filled the room and seeped along the ridgepole and along the thatch of the rest of the house. I had been told there were beds available in San Miguel, and had left my imported roll-away in storage in Quito. My bed turned out to be another of E.T.'s creations, a nearly immovable wood frame with split palm slats. The bed itself was double-sized, graced by a single-sized mattress made of wadded cotton, with about as much give to it as a wrestling mat. I needed no bedside table. The leftover slats, not covered by the mattress, were split bamboo like the walls, and afforded a platform for books, flashlight, and candle. My dresser was a stack of those ubiquitous kerosene boxes on which I hung a flowered curtain. I had brought from home a little red fireman's lantern, which I suspended from a nail, and a plastic clothes bag, which served as a closet. Nobody would have called my bedroom cozy. It was much too big to begin with. I wondered why this, the first house that E.T. built, was so commodious, while the Santo Domingo one was so cramped. When I lay in bed, I could look straight up into the thatch, perhaps 15 or 20 feet above me. The wood of the furniture and floors was unfinished and had turned a sort of moldy gray. If I had believed I was to spend the rest of my life here, I would have been more depressed by it than I was, but I was not settling down. I had agreed to come only temporarily to help Doreen and Barbara, and a few personal touches, such as a clean linen cover on the dresser, an atomizer bottle of Tweed cologne, a few vines in a jar, and some calendar pictures on the wall gave me a feeling of decency. Some of this I described in my letter to Jim. His house, as he described it to me, was similar, but the luxury we enjoyed was space. I had always imagined a hut. This was a house, and if I had been writing a real estate advertisement, I would have called it spacious and airy, with hand-hewn beams, an informal living room, and a setting of lush tropical landscaping. Someday, perhaps Jim and I would be building a house of our own somewhere in the Ecuadorian rainforest. I had ideas already of how it might look, but had had no occasion to discuss them with him. We were missionaries, each called to his own work for the present.